Yeah, good morning to you. It's Daybreak at iFiber One News Radio. I'm Jeff Slakey. We're diving on deep to a great conversation with folks from the Port of Shelton. And this week, no different. I've got Dick Taylor and Wendy Smith on the air here this morning, although your name placards are not that. Let me get that fixed up. How you guys doing here this morning?
Great.
Good to see you.
Wow, look at the morning.
I know, right? It's cold. It's crisp.
Yeah.
It's fall.
Fall has fallen.
It really has.
It's a Chamber of Commerce day.
It is
Let's
beautiful
bottle it and
out
sell
there.
it. Yep.
One of the things that happens every fall, we've been talking about the budget, and leading up to yesterday's
public hearing.
Public hearing.
Yeah.
What, you sign it, you approve it, you're
Yep.
good?
Yeah, we're done.
Yep.
Okay.
I got it
Well,
actually
good,
here
nice.
with me to deliver this morning to the county.
And so you take them the paperwork up there, and they file it and add it to their portion of the county budget? Is that how that works? Or
No, it's just a formality, but it's based on the property taxes. So really,
Okay.
we're delivering it to the assessor. The commissioners get a copy of it. It's by law something we have to do, and
Yeah.
we have to do it the first Wednesday after the first Monday of October.
So here we are.
So here we are.
Well, very good. And how are things looking for the budget for the next year? You guys anticipating anything big? I know you had a lot of projects on the
Yeah.
Lots of capital projects
That is
going.
the big thing, yeah. So things are looking good. You know, revenues seem to be up a little, and then expenses seem to be down a little, and then capital projects will be the bulk of our.
Yeah.
We just have a lot going on with the curb projects. Of course, you know, some of that's loan and grant, and the marina big projects, you know, that we've been talking about going on down there. Really, this next year will be a more focus on permits and securing all that to get going for the following year construction.
water projects can take a long time.
Yep.
Yeah. But I should note that because of those projects and quite large projects, it was time to kind of look at our rate structure and to get more in line with close airports for hangar rates, marinas, that kind of thing. So we did adjust the rates slightly. We'll send letters to all the tenants now that the budget's officially passed. We also adjusted water rates. Our own resolution states that we match the city. And so Sanderson Field hadn't seen a rate increase for quite some time. At least it never had been increased since I've been there, and I've been there almost 8 years.
Yeah.
So we adjusted those minimal. I
Okay.
mean, it would maybe cost a 5,000 square foot building $20 more. I'm sorry. Their bill's typically $17. It'll go to $20. I mean, it's like
Oh, yeah.
not
lot.
a big.
Okay.
A large water user would notice. We have one user that he's actually vacating, and so he's our largest water user. So not noticeable. Johns Prairie did receive an increase back in 2012 when we hooked up to city water, and so their increase will be less than it's just went up a couple hundredths of a cent or something. It's real minimal. So, but those are just kind of the cost of doing business, and we don't typically increase every year on hangar and marina and water for sure.
Right.
But it was time to look at those things. So one of the most probably one of the largest increases we'll see, and I think the tenants are pretty aware that it was coming, was at the marina. We're doing a capital contribution. They've already been making one based on a guest stock replacement a few years back, and so we're upping that. It's pretty extreme, and these will all start in January. These aren't going to start today, so we'll let them know, and that'll kind of tell us the flavor of this big project coming. They are going to have to pay a pretty large chunk of that, and that just based on properties being sustainable, so just kind of a heads up. That's the downside of those things.
No,
but
it is. We'll continue to remind folks for sure. Up there on the decommissioned runway, Tent City, USA.
Yeah, the
these
tents
days.
are up.
Yep, they are.
Getting
Yep.
ready for
Looked at them yesterday.
Oysterfest.
I'm surprised at how fast they go up.
Yeah, and they are big,
Huge.
massive on these things. Getting ready for Oysterfest, Sanderson Field, the home for Oysterfest here for the third year. They open up the areas for the RVs. Those are going to start rolling in, tomorrow afternoon?
Thursday, yep. Yep.
kind of impact as a 30,000 person city that comes up in the middle of the night here on the resources there? You still have all the plenty of water, and there's nothing that impacts the other
Nope.
residents.
No,
You guys got all
doesn't
this
impact
infrastructure.
The rest of the port, but it does. The impact is setting it up and getting it all online.
Yeah.
Because the water's not online down there all the time. The power is not there, turned on there.
Sure.
So the crew's got to go out, check the infrastructure out, make sure we're not going to blow any fuses and pop some water lines and stuff like that.
Yep.
So that's the impact of it. But it's minimal.
Okay.
It's minimal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Been happy with this as a use for that decommissioned runway?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we love to be able to partner. I think, hopefully it's not a forever. I
Right.
don't think everybody kind of knows that. If at some point a big aviation company or the airport really ramps up, that's going to change the dynamics. Today it's fine, and
Yeah.
it's fantastic. We love to be able
we
to
love to be able to do
to
it.
host and just be a part of the excitement out there. I was going to say, hopefully this is fair to say, but several of the committee that organizes the event come out and they do, periodic looks at the space and measuring and various things. And Max Folsom is one that comes out often, and he happened to mention to staff the other day, he simply came in just to say the runway has never looked as good, and as a matter of fact they could eat off it. It was so clean.
Wow.
And he said, and we will.
And we
So it was a great compliment to
Nice.
maintenance. Those guys just
Yeah.
work hard, and it's a lot less than it used to be when it was at the former fairgrounds.
Yeah.
But it still is work. It's still sweeping. It's still, making sure everything, like you say, we had to do a backflow test on the water, because when you shut water on and off, you have different things that you have to do by law, and safety and that kind of thing. So yeah, those guys do a great job, and they really got credit for it.
So that brings up a question I have for you on port property there. If I'm going to go to the Sportsman's Association, I can just go up there. If I'm going to go to
Right.
the new driving school, I'll just go there.
Right.
But if I'm going to go to like the decommissioned runway, do I need to go and check in at port office to say, hi, I'm Jeff, I'm here, I'm going to be right over there looking at things?
Yeah, we don't really open up it's not just
Sure.
a place you can just wander.
Yeah, it's a locked gate.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is a
But
locked
just
gate.
and then anywhere on port property, do you go and check in, or like you
most
check in
people
school?
do.
Okay.
I think there's probably people that don't, but most people would do that. And we do have, people, I want to fly my drone, or I want to shoot my bow and arrow in this big field and it looks great, or whatever. We have questions like that. We're always happy when they ask. And they do check in. On the inactive runway, it's a little different, because if you just stopped in the office and said, okay, I'm ready to go out there, how do I get in? What's your purpose?
Sure,
We
okay.
wouldn't. So it's user groups. They're authorized to be there. They've paid a fee to be there. Oysterfest, same thing. So it's not an open.
Okay.
It definitely is.
Okay.
Same with the former fairgrounds. That's a gated property. You can't just wander out there. People do, walk their dogs back in that area, and that's okay. We don't tell them they can't, but it is gated.
Sure.
You couldn't drive back there unless you had authorization.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good distinction on that one. All right. Well, I reckon you guys are going to have a wonderfully fun weekend and get a chance to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Help with the Oysterfest and all the activities. We'll see you up at the. Are you doing anything with Oysterfest, Wendy?
No.
You'll be at the mussels. And
Oh, I don't know.
sure.
I'll be around.
Sampling.
Sampling and seeing what's going on. All right.
This
Let's.
year I don't have a job assigned.
Oh, very nice.
Even more fun.
Fir-
He could be
First year.
Could be our roving reporter.
There you
perhaps
go.
here.
There you go.
Let's surface on out of here, and we'll catch up with you guys next week.